Some things in life are just downright shocking. Every day all over the world, people go missing. Some are found quickly and some are never heard from again. While some of these cases may seem mundane, others can be quite mysterious. These disappearances always leave us with more questions than answers. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will share 3 unsolved mysteries and the stories behind them. Stephanie Torres found in Texas River. A woman who has been missing for more than 4 years has finally been found. Despite this discovery, the end of this search is unfortunately not a happy one, as the police did not find her alive. In December of 2017, 43-year-old Stephanie Torres disappeared and has been missing ever since. Police say that Torres may have had self-destructive issues and been intoxicated the night she went missing, and that she had also left without her mobile phone, wallet, and medication. Her family has stated that it was not unusual for Stephanie to leave for days at a time. Despite following multiple leads, each one came up empty, and the case was later suspended in 2019 due to no new evidence coming to light. Then a break in the case occurred in January of 2022 when police retrieved a car from the Brazos River, Texas, aided by Adventures with Purpose, a group that travels around the US attempting to solve cold cases. The team had reached out to Stephanie's daughter Bianca to offer their services pro bono. The group specializes in looking for people who have gone missing with their cars. The divers with Adventures with Purpose found Stephanie's Kia Rio 55 feet from the shore and 13 feet underwater. The group stated that they were working from clues as to the events prior to Stephanie last being seen, and speculated that they would be able to find Stephanie's car in the nearby river. Using the clues, they found 3 cars that were in the river, all within an hour, with one of them belonging to Torres. Sadly, after a body was found in the car, an autopsy was performed and the police confirmed that the body belonged to Stephanie Torres. The autopsy reported the cause of death as inconclusive, leaving many unanswered questions about what happened to Stephanie. Although this case did not end well, Stephanie's family can have some peace in knowing they had closure on the case and her body had been recovered. One of the most incredible aspects of this story is how an independent group of YouTubers were able to find Stephanie while the police were not. Police claim that they did not find any information that led them to believe that she was in a body of water or in this location at all. The number of cars that have been found in the group searches have been staggering. For example, while investigating another cold case, they were able to find 13 cars submerged in Lake Whitney. Barbara Newhall Follett disappearance. There are few missing persons cases more shocking than that of Barbara Newhall Follett. Follett was a famous child prodigy who had already published 2 books and written numerous poems by age 16. Her debut novel, The House Without Windows, had received acclaim from the New York Times after it was released in 1927 when she was only 12 years old. Many thought she had the ability to become one of the next great American writers. Then, in 1939, she vanished. Famous geniuses do not often disappear into thin air. However, it seems Barbara's life story was not as glamorous as was thought in the past. Weekend Edition's Paul Collins had been looking into the Follett mystery for some time and found some intriguing aspects of her life. As it turns out, after she published her first book, her life took a turn when her father announced that he was leaving her and her mother for his mistress, leaving them without the family's source of income. This turn of events occurred just as the Great Depression had started. So this New York Times reviewed author was then left to desperately look for work in Manhattan as a typist. Barbara struggled to get her subsequent manuscripts published, and she wondered if her success could continue without the help of her editor father. During this period of professional unhappiness, she turned to personal pursuits, and in 1931 she fell for an outdoorsman, Nickerson Rogers. After a few years, she began to suspect that he was cheating on her, and she became depressed, antisocial, and even stopped writing. Then, in December of 1939, after a fight with Nickerson, she walked out of their apartment and disappeared without a trace. To this day, no one knows what really happened to Barbara. Perhaps she had grown disappointed with betrayals by the men she loved and vanished on purpose, or perhaps someone took her. We may never know. Her story had not even been covered by the press until more than 20 years after her disappearance because her husband had listed her unrecognizable married name in a missing person bulletin. Despite the unknowns, this story is an American tragedy, and Barbara's disappearance prevented the rest of the world from witnessing how far her talent may have taken her. James Tedford disappearance. In the winter of 1949, 56-year-old James Tedford went missing and was never to be found again. The military veteran, living in the sleepy town of Fletchertown in Vermont, had a normal, quiet life living with his 28-year-old wife, Pearl. This normalcy changed when the 1940s conflict arrived, and Tedford went off on his next tour of duties. By all accounts, he and Pearl had been happy, with no known problems, especially problems that would lead either of them to purposefully run from their lives. Pearl was the first of the two to vanish. One night, when James was back home from duty, he returned to the house to a half-prepared meal. Initially, James believed she had simply stepped out of the house for a moment and would soon return. However, when the late evening arrived, he grew worried and began asking neighbors if they knew about Pearl's whereabouts. Apparently, she had been in high spirits that day at the Amoco store in town and did not look to be distressed. Her disappearance was a shock, as it could not be determined why this seemingly happy woman would vanish. Pearl's disappearance was a shocking blow to James. He allegedly became depressed and grew increasingly reclusive, staying alone at home all day long. He later moved into the Soldiers' Retirement Home in Bennington, Vermont, about an 8-hour bus ride to the only relatives James had left in St. Albans, Vermont. One day, when he was making the bus trip to St. Albans, he disappeared. Even more strange, he seemed to disappear from a moving bus as it had not taken any stops along the way. According to witnesses, he was last seen sleeping in his seat, and then by the time the bus had reached its destination, he was no longer there. James and Pearl's disappearances seemed to defy logic. This seemingly normal, happy couple vanished within a few years of each other without any clues as to where they may be. Even more mysterious is the location of James's disappearance. In the years following James's disappearance, more shocking missing persons cases began to creep up in the Bennington region of Vermont. The area has even been named the Bennington's Triangle because of these mysterious disappearances. These include a missing hiker, an 8-year-old boy who vanished from his mother's truck, and a 53-year-old who disappeared while walking back to her campsite. Missing persons cases are some of the most captivating mysteries out there. While it can be fascinating to read or hear, we can only imagine for the loved ones not being able to find closure on a case must be horrible. These mysteries have been some of the strangest, most puzzling disappearances of the last century. But what do you make of these 3 disappearances? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.